I'm with Ihab Nader from the Good Shepherd Youth Cultural Centre here in Jericho. Now, Ihab, what is the Good Shepherd Youth Cultural Centre?
Hi, Paul. The Good Shepherd Youth Cultural Center is a cultural center providing educational and cultural and social programs, courses, and activities of Jericho Governorate and the community.
And when were you started and why were you started?
The Cultural Center is actually started in 2017. It's emerged actually from the Good Shepherd Youth Club. After the succeed of obtaining the Ministry of Education certification and the license to start broadcasting and doing our work here in Jericho, having in mind the Good Shepherd Youth Cultural Center is actually emerged from the Good Shepherd Youth Club. The Good Shepherd Youth Club is established in 1984. The idea of it was from people who graduate from Terra Santa School with the support of the Custodia de Terra Santa. They actually supported them with our parish members. They started this, or actually the club itself. And then during this time, we start building activities and we run these activities here in Jericho for the best benefit of the community. In addition to that, as I said, in 2017, we had the license from the Ministry of Education and we started just operating for the Cultural Center for the best benefit of the activities and the programs to run with community here in Jericho.
And what age range do you work with?
At the beginning, when we start the youth club, Good Shepherd Youth Club, it was actually limited to the youth members. And then after a couple of years of working in the club itself, we start just mainly focusing on the basketball teams. At that time, we were focusing on the youth members. And then afterward, we start just growing up with various ranges from the kids until we had the youth in our club. Again, for a certain period of time at the club, at that time, we've been shortened with numbers and the range of numbers. And with the program that we had, the PWY was implemented at the Good Shepherd Youth Club. We start working on the center and we actually expanded the ranges between the families and the kids. So we have a various and enormous number of members here in the club.
So what sort of people are using the centre? Is it Muslims and Christians together?
Yes, for sure. We are working for the best benefit of the community. So we sharing the same land and we sharing the same thoughts. So therefore, we are here and we giving the service for both.
And what sort of projects and activities do you run here?
The main activity or the category, it's actually for the registration of the club. It was the cultural and the sport, and we have social and we have the scout. So this is the main branches. And after within these branches, you can elaborate for other activities inside. And therefore, under these categories, we have full wide range of programs and courses, including, but not limited to the basketball. As I said, we have the basketball teams, it's actually registered. And we have karate, the karate classes, we have summer school, we have winter club, or we have summer club, and we have, which is the camps itself. And we have after-school programs. All these activities is actually being leading in here, even the leadership courses, we have ICT courses. All these has been implemented at our location here in Jericho.
Is the centre an important part of the community here?
It is an important, definitely. As we working with the youth, so youth is actually the generation, the new upcoming generation. So the center, it plays a very good role, and we have a very good network among the rest of society in here, or even the organization that works in Jericho. We do have a lot of networks among all of them, and we work for the best benefit of the youth in Jericho. So yes, we have we have a very good and important message to deliver.
Tell us a little bit about the after-school programs. Are you being a support?
The after-school program, the idea it actually implemented before 3 years, and it focused on the educational, sport and culture and entertaining and even entertaining activities with no limit for the school materials. So the idea of it is just to get the students out of the school atmosphere and to get them to something more fun, but at the same time taking in consideration the educational part of it. A kid or even the youth members, usually they look for the atmosphere where they can be relaxed. Yes, we have an instructor, we have classes or sessions, let's say, but at the same time, these students, they actually get to the fact of how to start working on themselves and build their future by themselves, by studying, by knowing how to study, and at the same time, after they finish, they can do our other activities of fun.
So they can actually learn a lot of skills here, can they?
Exactly. So this is the main point of the, it's not focused on educational part, but mainly we mix between educational, which you finish your school, you finish your homeworks and everything, and after you finish everything, all these main things for your career and for your future, you start having fun. So we mix both of them to create the new generation of youth.
Are there many Christians living here in Jericho?
Not really. We are a minority in Jericho. We are around like 500 members in Jericho as a Christian of the total population here in Jericho.
Now, you're a Christian organization. Is the Christian message important to Jericho?
Definitely. It's just like, as we know, like Christianity is, or Palestine is a land for Christianity. Just like Jesus Christ, he's born and he lived in Palestine. In the other part, like we're looking for Jericho as a historical place and it's a holy place. We have several locations for Christians who actually have the Mountain of Temptation. We have Zacchaeus trees. We have all these places where pilgrims comes all the way around from the world just to come and visit. So Jericho, it has the message itself. Therefore, for us as a Christian, we have our important message to deliver and to keep the message of Jesus Christ in supporting the youth and the community here in Jericho.
How old is the city?
Are we talking about 10,000-ish?
It's very, very old.
Very, very old.
Yeah. Now, the coronavirus pandemic hit Jericho. How has the center coped during this time?
Well, the pandemic currently is actually the subject of the word. It's not only limited to Jericho. Unfortunately, yes, it hit Jericho, and for the club, we tried to work and to live with it. We, as a board members, we took the decision just to continue with working and operating here in Jericho for almost like the first 3 to 4 months. And after that, like, you know, like with everything shutting down, with the lockdown that we have here in Palestine, it affected our income. It's just like we go in for the low profile and we start just working with low profile. Therefore, like currently, unfortunately, for the main time, we actually working in the low profile and we almost like closed.
It must be sad to see everything sort of virtually closed at this time, is it?
Unfortunately, but we have to live with the pandemic and we can't actually take the risk. As a youth club and a youth cultural center, we're working and we mainly focus for the health of our members. Like it's not only working for the community, but at the same time we support and we helping the health of the community. So we don't need anyone to be infected. So that's why like we took the decisions to have everyone in their houses safe until we have hopefully the pandemic ending soon and we can rerun the business and we get again to the cultural center and the youth of the club.
Are the children and the youth really excited to get back again?
Definitely. Like luckily, like we receive daily phone calls and messages, even over Facebook and or even through the websites and emails. Just the kids how they're interested and the youth how they are interested in getting back to the activities here in the club. But as we said, like it's we need to be balanced between having the kids back. We do them a bit of activities, very few activities, but not as we used to operate before. But definitely they are working and they're looking forward to be back to the club for karate classes, for other sections, like it's either sport or social.
Do you have sports teams here?
Yes, we are representing Jericho Governorate as a basketball team. We are registered at the Higher Council of Sport, and we are registered with the Basketball Federation. We have the basketballs. Actually, we're representing Jericho Governorate with the basketball.
Do you have male and female basketball team here?
Yes, at the Good Shepherd Youth Club, we have representing Jericho. We do represent Jericho with 2 teams. We have females and males. And now we are registered with the Basketball Federation to contribute with the tournaments and for the championship in Palestine. So yes, we do have both females and males are registered with the Basketball Federation.
Is that pioneering work, having a female basketball team as well?
Yeah, for sure. Like we trust in our community, and we have like the youth, and the youth. It's actually a mix between females and males. And to be pioneering here in Palestine, like you need to have the both gender working together and to support each other, so we can build the best future for an upcoming future.
You mentioned the Scouts. You have a Scouts troop attached here to the cultural center.
Well, for the Scouts, it's yes, it's one of the branches of the club. However, currently we have it like off. It has been like for several years. We call it off. You know, Scouts, it needs a lot of focus and a lot of training for that. And for several reasons, like we had to call it off for a certain period of time.
Is the center keeping children off the streets?
Indeed, that's the message that we're looking for. Just like as a youth club, we are looking for, or even the Good Shepherd itself. Just like we trying to obtain all the kids from the street and to have for them activities to keep them away from any other risks in the streets. So this is the safe place, and Good Shepherd Youth Club since in 1984, we have a very good name and reputation among the families here in Jericho. They know like their kids, if they need a safe place, they would send their kids. We are one of the trusted organization and clubs to have their kids out of the street and to have more activities and skills here in our location.
Are you one big family? Does everybody know everybody here?
Yes, for sure. Like Jericho is a very small town. Again, it's the oldest city in the world, but at the same time, it's just like it's a small town. We know each other, despite if we are Christian or Muslims, but we all working together. We know each other for sure.
Why do you do what you do?
For the best benefit of the community. Just like we believe, like the vision of the club is actually to keep the health and to keep the youth out of the street. This is our vision. Just like to keep the business running, to support, or even if we comes from the Good Shepherd itself, the wording, as a Christian, we work for supporting these youth. As Christ was like walking here in Jericho and he has a message and he used to take care of everyone in the street. We actually doing almost the same message that our Christ. He's actually our lead. So we trying to keep the youth out of the street. We give them something they can work on. We take care of them. We give them the skills that they needed, despite the fact what ranges they are. It's either the kids or a youth.
Is Jericho a great place to live here? And what's it like in the summertime? I guess it gets really, really hot.
Yes, for sure. Like Jericho, it's an awesome area. It's, as we said, like it's an oldest city, lowest city in the world. At the same time, it's lovely to be here in the winter. But for people who lives in Jericho, for example, like us, we already got adapted to the atmosphere in the summer. Like in the summer, specifically, we're talking about the ranges of August to October. We have very high atmosphere, like very high temperature in Jericho. We hit like 50 degrees.
I guess the Dead Sea is very tempting to go and swim in. You're very close to the Dead Sea. For people who don't know, it's very, very close by to Jericho, isn't it?
Yes, the Dead Sea is very close. Just like you need 15 minutes of driving from Jericho to be in the Dead Sea. That's like on the regular days and if there is like no closures.
And what's your prayer for here, for the cultural center?
Our prayer initially to get this pandemic off. And hopefully we can run back to the business. And as you know, our message is to deliver everything that needed and to keep our message as a Christian in this land. And we actually, from this land, to give the best benefit for Jericho community. We pray for that. At the same time, we pray to have a lot of funding just to support the communities or actually the club to proceed with the work that we're doing for the best benefit of the community. So one of the things, we are looking forward to have people who are interested in supporting and funding these kind of activities to keep the children and the youth out of the street, to help us in these kind of programs and to give them the best benefit for the best future for our youth in Palestine, specifically in Jericho.
Is it also important to keep the youth here in the land as well? So you're helping to keep them here by giving them something to do?
For sure. Just like if you go in for any place in the world, you would love to have the youth generation in your country. So the youth is actually the main bone of the whole country. As much as you have the youth in the country and you give them everything that they needed, it's either, despite the fact if it's financially or even a satisfactory atmosphere and environment, in this case, like all the youth, they will be working. For sure, like we're looking forward to have our youth here in this country to support their government, to support the living here in Palestine, and to go as they want in their lands.
And what's your website for people who'd like to know more?
Currently, our website is actually under construction, but it's goodshepherd.ps.
And you have a Facebook page as well?
Yes, for sure. Like we have 2 pages on Facebook. One of them is Good Shepherd Youth Club. The other one is Good Shepherd Youth Cultural Center. These 2 web pages, please feel free to like it and to follow up with our page and our activities.
Okay, Ihab, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paul.